Feeling good? Feeling good. All right. Well, first of all, I want to welcome live. We have our live stream viewers that are now participating. How many of you know where the camera is? We want to point right back there at that camera and welcome all of our viewers on live stream broadcast. All right. Wish you were here with us, but you're in the second best place. Welcome. We are excited to have our leadership panel where we get to ask them all sorts of questions. And I have some good ones here. And first of all, we're going to hand the mic over. Who are we going to start with? We're going to start with Susan. Let's just put her right on the spot from the beginning. How does that sound? Does she look great in her green? Yeah. Well, Susan, you and I have something in common. And that is we have a lot of kids, right? Susan has 4 kids plus another one living with her right now, ages 4 to 17. But somehow she stays organized and focused and gets the results you're looking for. Impossible, but you're doing it. How do you do it?
Well, thanks so much, Doug, and it's great to be here. Welcome everyone who's live streaming from home, and a special shout out to Kathy Savage. I know you're watching. Just send me a text. Mwah. We love you, Kathy. Well, the first thing is, how many of you have children at home, still living at home? How many of you are married to someone who you consider a child? No, just kidding. No, we want to keep marriages together. So the first thing is, number one, it's about a decision. Okay, you've got to make a decision that this is important to you, because today's efforts are tomorrow's rewards, and we are going to put aside time for anything we think is important. Time is a valuable commodity. There are 86,400 seconds in every day. What you do with them differentiates your results versus someone else's. The second thing is that you have to start with the end in mind. When Jim Rohn was still alive, I had the privilege of sharing the stage with him 3 times, including the last time he spoke live in Dallas, Texas. And Jim always used to say, end the day before you start the day. End the week before you start the week. End the month before you start the month. And end the year before you start the year. So what he meant by that is you cannot go into a day and have it be random. Lynn Hagedorn talks about you make the tough calls first. And what do? The night before, you write out the names and the phone numbers of the people you're going to be calling. You schedule out your time. If you don't schedule time, is it going to happen? No. What's going to happen is a lot of distractions. So you schedule your time and you block out time for personal prospecting and following up. Then you also want to have time for working with your team, because wisdom shall be known by her children, and your results are only as good as the results of your team members. The next thing is having conversations with your family. They have to have buy-in. They have to know, why is mommy or daddy doing this? And being very, very clear. And it doesn't matter if you have kids or not, all of these things apply. So some of the things that have worked for us are just being able to set a goal as a family. So we'll have a family vision board. And the first vision that we had was, as soon as I hit a 4-star Golden Circle income, we would go to Disney. Now, when you live in Canada and you go to Disney, it's a very expensive trip, okay? Because there's the cost of getting there, the Disney tickets, all of it. And so, of course, we made the best of it, because we went with some other friends in our Isagenix business, so we wrote off part of the trip. That was a beautiful thing. But needless to say is the kids would say, okay, mommy, are you going to make some more calls? We want to get to Disney. And they knew. They knew. The other thing that I do in our house is there's a penalty for catch mommy working. So I have set hours of operation, and if the kids catch me working outside of those hours, I have to give them $1. They will hold you accountable for that. So that's another thing. A few other tips are, number one, make sure you have a dedicated line that is just for Isagenix. Sometimes when you're starting out, it's very easy just to use your home line. And if you have kids, your family's going to resent it, because you're going to have people calling you at dinner time, early in the morning, wanting to get started with Isagenix. So even if it's your mobile number, have it be dedicated and allocated, something outside of the family phone number. The other thing is, at the end of every day, you want to chart your progress. So I keep a spiral notebook, and what I do is I write down every name of every person I've connected with, every 3-way call I've done, every follow-up call, every welcome call, all of it. And I've been keeping spiral notebooks for 10.5 years. One of the reasons you want to do this is because you have to make yourself audit proof. According to the IRS and CRA, in order to take full tax deductions in your business, you have to prove that you're doing 45 minutes a day, 5 days a week of income producing activities, which are making calls and following up, not just listening to podcasts and things like that. And that's, another good tip for you. In Canada, everything you write down is submissible in a tax audit, but in the United States, anything you do that's uploaded to a cloud can be submissible, but you want to work with your accountant. And so the last thing I want to say is you've got to treat it like a business. We teach people how to treat us. And if you're not taking it seriously, your family isn't going to take it seriously either.
Thank you very much. Give her a round of applause. Hi, Carolyn. How are you? Carolyn, how are you doing? You're on the spot. Hey, you got to use the one that works. That's what I always say. So I want to ask you, now I know that you came from another network marketing company. So what is it that you do to attract other networkers?
So how many of you would like to have networkers in your business? And why is that? Why would you want networkers in your business? They have experience, and Jimmy Smith taught me this. He said, if you're putting together a basketball team and you're a recruiter, would you be out there looking for baseball players? No, because then you have to teach them how to play basketball. So Jimmy Smith taught me this. He said, look for networkers. Why? Because they already know the ropes. They're experienced. They understand auto ship. They understand the commitments. They understand the rules of the game. So that is one of the things that I look for, but I don't focus on that. So when you're talking to networkers, the first thing that Mar and Susan did was put Jimmy on the phone with me. And Jimmy, he edified me. He knew everything about the company that I was in. That's really important. If you're talking to a networker, you better be educated about the company that they're in, and you want to acknowledge them for what they have already accomplished. And Jimmy, right from the get-go, was pouring belief into me, and he said, Carolyn, if you've already done this in this company, I know when you're ready to look, you can take that amount and make it a weekly amount. And so he planted the seed in my head. Now, at the time I met Jimmy, I was very angry because I realized that there's something easier. So with Facebook, and I'm learning from Zach and Eden, you have the ability to brand yourself, to profile yourself, to show how much fun you're having in your business. I wasn't having a lot of fun. And what Jimmy did was he showed me how things could be different without telling me how great his company was versus, how lousy the company was that I was in. So the first thing you want to do is be of service to that individual. So there's a gal in my church. She's a great networker, and she's making all these posts. And thank you, Zach and Eden. I learned this from them. And so I went to her and I said, if there was a way you could improve your posts that would attract more customers to your business, would you want to know how? She said, wow, you'd help me? I said, absolutely, because first and foremost, I'm an ambassador for this profession of network marketing, and when you succeed, we all succeed. So edify that person, and understand, guys, that a networker, especially someone who's making a significant amount of income, they're not going to turn over on a dime. It's going to take some time. I've been talking to this networker now for 5 years. 5 years. And I know he's going to come into our business. And what I'm doing is I'm dripping on him. And every so often when I make a post, he congratulates me. So what is he doing? He's watching. So be that example to other people rather than going out there to get somebody. Pour some belief into them. Acknowledge them, commend them. And then Jimmy asked me this one thing. He invited me to come to Celebration. And if Jimmy's watching, it was his birthday just a few days ago. So let's all blow Jimmy a big kiss. Happy birthday, Jimmy. Mwah. because Jimmy's responsible for dripping on, just dripping on me along with wonderful people like Susan and my sponsor so that I could see it when I was ready. And he invited me to come to Celebration, and he said, come and assess this company, because you know where you are. You know what's happening in your business. Come and take a look. And if you're happy with where you're at, then, kudos to you, Carolyn. We will part friends. And that's what I did. I took him up on the offer because of all the little seeds he planted in my head about what was possible. And when I came to Celebration and I saw the integrity of Jim and Kathy Coover and I saw what was possible, that was it. The door opened for me. I came back. I was in. So long story short, give them time, edify them, acknowledge them, brand yourself, and just like Eden, they will come into your business.
Awesome. Nicely done. Let's see. Let's pass that 2 down to you. There you go. All right. Dr. Paul, how are you?
Awesome.
Mr. Dr. Paul Beyondich, we're excited to have him up here on the panel. And I will just tell you, before we go on too much further, we had a snowstorm here this morning. I'm talking to our live viewers. I tell you what, this room, hey, shh, these guys are from Phoenix, a lot of these guys. It snowed like crazy. This room is still packed. They're totally ruining my story. No, but the weather was it would have scared me away. I'm telling you that. But luckily I was here at the hotel. So, Dr. Paul, you are a chiropractor, correct?
That is correct, or some people call me chiroprankster, but I'll take the chiropractor part.
Make sure I don't make an appointment when you have that title, I'll tell you. So one thing I want to tell you is, I can imagine how long have you been a chiropractor for now?
About 14 years.
14. So over this 14 years, I'm sure you've had clients, customers, everybody coming at you, right? You're a big target, and you basically have been probably approached by hundreds of people over that time.
Absolutely.
And they're saying, hey, you know what? I got the best products in the world. Why don't you try them? But yeah, you said no, and you probably ignored some, and then probably somebody were making daily appointments with you trying to get in. Yep. But here's the thing I want to know. Somebody at some point sparked something in you. You took a look at the Isagenix advantage or the opportunity as a chiropractor, and you have had some tremendous results, and I know that. But somebody broke through. How did they do it?
It's a great question. I mean, as a chiropractor, we get prospected by, many different companies in direct marketing and in traditional means, probably on a weekly basis. Some we're open to, some we're not. And unfortunately, sometimes you do get, introduced to good companies that you do pass up because you're not open, you're not ready, the time is not right, whatever is going on in your life. But it's true, there was a moment where we really did take a look at the company closely, and that's because we got prospected by a very good close friend of ours and also a colleague, a chiropractor, Dr. Michelle, Dickey, and Alistair, who is in the room. They're great friends with Renata and I. Renata's a chiropractor as well. So, they called us up and said, Paul, listen, I know you're in the high-performance nutrition space. There's a company that you should really take a look at. We're taking a look at them, we're using them, we're getting great results. And we really trust Dr. Michelle and Alistair tremendously. I mean, actually, Michelle was the one who got Renata and I together, so, we owe her a lot, and I do trust her, of course. So I said, and honestly, everything she's ever suggested to us has always been bang on point. So, it was a big eye-opener for me. I said, okay, because honestly, I have never heard of this company before. And so I took a look, and I was absolutely shocked at how amazing the product line was. And I was really kind of upset that maybe I should have been open more in the past to, other opportunities. But
and we're glad you weren't.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that from my Isagenix standpoint.
But if I can pass this message along, I mean, how many of you out here have tried to prospect a chiropractor? It's difficult, right? I mean, we're pretty stubborn. We want to help people, but we're very, I'm going to say this lovingly, we're a tough nut to crack. And if I can make a suggestion, if you have another chiropractor in your upline, your downline, or even your cross line, use them. Ask them to do a three-way call. Ask them if you can do a three-way call for you. The moment you get a colleague, or that we receive a colleague onto our line, it's a different conversation. All of a sudden, we can instantly relate. We have the same financial concerns. We have the same practice management concerns. How do we integrate this product in? You know, does our college accept it? What are the rules and regulations? There's so many questions that we have that maybe subconsciously we feel that the person that's prospecting us can never answer, can never relate, so we just don't even bother. But if it's another chiropractor, we're very intrigued. And chiropractors should traditionally, we're competitive by nature because we're really competing for the same business. So we're not used to, you know, being in an environment of cooperation. And so when another chiropractor wants to help you, this is kind of novel for us. It's new territory. It's interesting. It's fascinating. It almost draws you in. And then you can instantly have a very quick conversation with the chiropractor. It's like, I remember, I mean, that's how with Michelle and I and Renata, when we had the conversation, it was amazing. And then, you know, she's like, there are other chiropractors in the business. I said, really? She goes, yeah, you should talk to Dr. Rick Lee. He's, you know, doing extremely well, and Dr. Jeff Lustig. And, you know, so I remember the first time I saw Dr. Rick Lee at an event, I was pretty nervous, and I, you know, was nervous about approaching him. What's he going to say? And it was amazing. He was so open and telling me how he was building the practice and, you know, what things worked for him and what didn't. And it was phenomenal. So, and this applies really, I would say, to any healthcare practitioner, whether it's a chiropractor, a naturopath, a massage therapist. If you feel that, you know, you may be uncomfortable approaching them, find somebody in your upline, downline, or crossline. Bring them, ask them to do a three-way call, and make the connection. It's absolutely phenomenal because, as you know, chiropractors can be phenomenal business leaders in your team.
Okay, great suggestion. Thank you. Now, while you still have the microphone, as many of you know, and many of you may not know at home, Dr. Paul was the 2013 IsaBody Challenge winner under the category of energy and performance. You remember his before and after pictures? Absolutely stunning. Wow, what an incredible transformation. Look at that.
Thank you.
You're like, what did he look like before? No, wasn't that good, I'll tell you that. All right. One thing I will say, though, but besides being and he's going to put me on a program because he saw the before right here, right? So one of the things that he wants, it's just very interesting because he, in conjunction with being a chiropractor, he also trains elite athletes, UFC fighters, NHL, MLS, and CFL athletes. I mean, that is tough. We know what we have to offer here, right? But how do you approach this great athlete and say, you know what? I can make you a superstar. I can make you a better athlete. I mean, that to me is a hard sell. When you're talking to somebody who's got 8% body fat or maybe a little bit better, you can improve that. How do you do it? How do you go about it? How do you approach them?
It's a great question. I really try to keep it simple. And two strategies, or one major strategy I use that, you know, Zach was talking about today and Mike Dallaire was ask questions, you know, that of an interest to the person, to the athlete you're talking to, and listen and see what they're looking for, and try to listen to, you know, what they're asking for. Or they want to put lean muscle, they want they took body fat off. And when you find out what their goals are, then you'll see clearly where the Isagenix systems can come into place. And for high performance athletes, because sometimes they're very superstitious, sometimes they don't like to change routines massively, I do the less is more kind of design. So I'll give you an example. I had a competing CrossFitter come into my office, and I reviewed his program, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And he basically said to me, Paul, I need to put lean muscle mass on, I need to get stronger, but I want to keep my six-pack. I need to stay lean. How do I do this? And I reviewed his program. There's all, you know, I had about 14 suggestions I, you know, wanted to do, but I only did one. And that's all we did. We just changed his proteins. Simple as that. We swapped out the proteins for the ones he was using, and we put our Isagenix Isoline Pro in. That's it. It's that simple. And when they start to feel the change, the improvement in recovery and growth, now you've got trust. Now you've and you preface it by saying, hey, you know, this is the step 1 of step 14 or step 3 or step 5 or however you want to say it. There's other things that we can do to move forward. And all of a sudden, they're now coming back to you and say, hey, I want to look further into this. You've got their trust. And now you can open them up and say, okay, we're going to do an advanced program right now. We're going to do the Isolean Pro. We're going to do Isa Pro on top of that. Isagreens, Ionic Supreme. 1 hour later, we're doing a second post-workout shake. We're putting 8 grams of protein in 2 hours. And they're going, really? I said, let's go. And next thing you know, he put 16 pounds of muscle on in 6 weeks and wins his CrossFit tournament.
Awesome.
So there are a lot of strategies we can do, but I highly suggest that you start slow in a high performance athlete. You know, if an athlete is really looking at power to weight ratio and saying, you know, I'm very strong, but there's just unwanted body fat. You know, one of the best things I love doing is our deep cleanse, our 48-hour cleanse system. Our 30-day, weight loss cleanse program is still an unbelievable program for the elite pro athlete. I still suggest it. I put them on that. And when they start getting that body composition change, when that growth hormone goes up, 1,000% in the first 24 hours and 2,000% in the second 24 hours, and they get even leaner than they were before, they didn't think it was possible. I said, now watch, you took 3-4 pounds off, we can replace that now with muscle. This is, power to weight ratio is a very, very important concept in elite and pro athletes. Isagenix has systems built in or options for us to give this to our elite athletes. So beyond providing, Isagenix, and not to get into a whole, product conversation again, but we have the best nutrition in the world. We have the best proteins. We have the best adaptogens. We have the best intermittent fasting cleansing program in the world. I know I can say that because I've studied all the nutrition companies worldwide, globally. It's my job. My pro athletes depend on it. And that's why I can say that, and that's why I say it to you, that if you start slowly implementing these programs into not just pro athletes, but everyday people, you're going to see the same high performance results for everybody.
Awesome. Nicely done. So just to clarify, you're not running in there with the business builder pack and going, here we go. You got to kind of build that trust slowly is what it sounds like. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. One thing he doesn't tell you, he has a quick release shirt and suit. So he walks in, he just goes whoosh, and they like, I will sign up today. Isn't that right? That's what I thought. Awesome. Well, let's hand the mic right next to you. Hello there.
Hello, everybody.
Look who's back. Isn't it good to have her with the mic? It's so much fun. You never know what's going to come out. That's what's so exciting. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Hopefully it's what we need.
I have
we'll
on
see.
Canadian hairspray.
Yes.
The trick.
That was a nice gift from the Canadians today. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
It was fantastic. Story Mac and I got mittens. She got hairspray. So that tells you how they roll around here. One thing I want to tell you is that you have a lot of experience. Obviously a millionaire. You know exactly what's going on in this industry. Tell me a little bit about what you think. What does it take to take somebody that's a product user and actually have them make that leap of faith to become a business builder? What do you do? How do you transition that? How do you move them from one stage to the next? How do you start to pique their interest?
That's a great question, Doug. How many of you have that same question? Well, I will tell you, it begins with my own personal philosophy. I love the mission of Isagenix, and I believe in the mission of Isagenix, which includes freeing people from pain, physically and financially. Notice they're right together, and they're right, in the same sentence. You don't even take a breath between physical and financial pain. And how many of you agree with me that if someone has physical pain, there's a good chance they have financial pain, and vice versa? I love to explain to people that it's an investment to be healthy. We're going to either invest money, and notice I say invest and not spend. We're going to invest money in the early part of our life to maintain and to produce great health, or we will spend money at the end of our life on medications and procedures and anything we can do to grasp onto that youth and that health. So again, it begins my own personal philosophy, because when we offer people Isagenix, we're giving them the whole thing, and it really just comes from my own personal experience. Because even though I did enter Isagenix for the financial benefit, I needed this product more than I needed air. You know, I didn't realize how much I needed it. So I believe it's in our approach. And I say to people, let's say a product person who has weight, you know, that they want to release, I say, I future pace them and say, when this works for you, are you ever going to shut up about it? They're like, no. So I'm already getting to think that this is something that's natural. And I love to give people examples just like they do in regular life. Say, when something great happens to us, don't we love to tell about it? I see, that's Isagenix. The gal that styles our hair the other day, Stryker told me, he said that she recommended a book to him. And she ran over to her purse and grabbed that book and said, oh, here's this book. And he looked at her and he said, that's Isagenix, what you just did. People naturally share anyway things that matter to them, to the people that they love. What I love about this plan too is you don't need millions and hundreds and thousands of people mathematically to become a millionaire. How many people do you need? 2. I mean, if everybody got it, we would only need 2 people. Isn't that amazing? Hello. So I think that it's just really important that you, first, it's your personal posture. I learned that from Susan. That it's how we present it. It's the same package. And I'd say, we are the ambassador of Isagenix. We're the ones, you're going to get a result. I will tell you real quick, how I link people to bringing friends along with them is I say that, especially if it's a health goal, I say, how committed are you to this goal? I say, let's get people surrounding you. Somebody at work and somebody at home that's also involved in the program with you. Notice I didn't say recruit, sign up, enroll. I said involve. Let's get a couple of other people, you know, because when it's Taco Tuesday and the whole office is saying, it's Taco Tuesday, you know, you're going to drink your crummy shake, you know, there's got to be one other solidarity, somebody there with them. And I said that it's not a gimmick, it's a strategy. It's not a gimmick. 2 people is not a gimmick. It's a strategy for success. And we know everything that comes from that. So I just really believe it's all in the presentation. It's a package deal. One last little example. I say, well, you know Whole Foods by me it's a grocery store. But in the front, there's a little cafe. There's tables there. We're going to give you the grocery store. We're going to give you the Whole Foods, and you can shop there and never sit a soul in your grocery store, in your little cafe. We're going to give you 10 tables. All you've got to do is sit one person down at every table. And just like at every great restaurant, you invite friends to join you. They just need 2 friends to join them. Are you getting the picture? 10 tables, 1 friend at each table who has 2 friends to join them. That's the executive position, making it clear in their mind that it's there. Your cafe is there, attached to your grocery store, whether you do anything with it or not. But if we start filling up those tables with just 1 friend each, that's the mathematical formulation for a millionaire.
I love it. I love it. All right, so I'm buying into this, right? I'm excited. You got me motivated. I'm ready to go.
Right.
What's my next step? What are you going to have me do?
Well, I love the tools. You know, in the early days, you know, we created all these webinars and we'd get people on and 2 in the morning. I mean, whenever you can do it, we'll do it, you know. And that's exhausting. And you don't want to do it that way. And so I love the things that Isagenix. I also believe in playing ball with people. And I'll be honest with you, good people are found, they are not made. Good people are found, they're not made. So stop trying to make people. So what I do is I'll throw them the ball and I'll say, I want you to watch, you know, on IsaMovie, I want you to watch about the compensation plan or wherever it is that they are in the journey. And then I said, I want you to call me back. And that's them throwing the ball back to me. And so, you know, never worry about who does it and who doesn't. My job is to, you know, point them in the right direction. And just like all of you, no one begged or held a gun to you, did they? Maybe they did, to come. But you know, I'm saying I think we get so hung up in trying to make people do this when, I mean, someone found you. You know, they didn't make you. They found you. Right? And so that's my philosophy is just have a very simple program. It's you plus 2, them plus 2. Hello, did a blonde think that up? I mean, it's awesome. Anybody can do this. Yeah, don't overcomplicate it. That's
Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll pass that down here. Thank you. Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you, We have a couple, so you guys still decide who gets the microphone next. But we are so excited now. We're going to get to maybe dive into the minds here a little bit deeper into our good friends here, Zach and Eden Sloven. Weren't they just fantastic today? We learned a lot. We learned a lot about best practices and some of the success that they're having. You made it pretty simple. I would love to ask you just a couple of questions around social media, if I could. Would that be fair? All right. So what I'd like to know is, when you actually post something on Facebook, what are you doing to pique interest in Isagenix? Are you just going out there with a lot about Isagenix and showing the dancing A? I mean, what are you doing?
We actually never say the words Isagenix on our personal timeline. We don't post Isagenix links. We don't post Isagenix logos. And the reason why is what we had talked a little bit about earlier. And that's that we believe that, one, people buy you, not your company, most importantly. And two, that it's a disservice to your network to let them know that they can click on a link, go to Google, and make a split decision without having all the information of how powerful of a vehicle this can really be. I believe it's a huge disservice to not take people through the process of what's available to them.
Excellent, excellent. So let me ask you, what does it take? I mean, if you're able to post and kind of pique that curiosity with a lot of people, how do you lead a person from your site to an enrollment? You're not saying anything about Isagenix, right? So how do you do that? What's that process? Can you walk us through that?
So we create curiosity by talking about all the benefits that Isagenix has to offer. And that's the key word, all the benefits that Isagenix has to offer. So we're consistently celebrating the results of our team. And we're celebrating their health results, and we're celebrating their financial results, and we're celebrating the lifestyle that we've been afforded. And we're consistently embedding little call to action questions. So for example, and she's here today with her business partner and boyfriend, we have a 22-year-old and 23-year-old couple who just recently had a $2,000 week. They've only been working with us for 90 days. Eden and I love mentoring young Gen Y entrepreneurs. So we would celebrate them and talk about what an incredible thing it is that they've earned more in the last 3.5 months as our mentees than they did working 3 jobs over the course of an entire year. How would your life be different if you were earning $2,000 a week by following a simple system after just 90 days? Just a question.
It's a good question.
And that's how we pique curiosity. We're consistently challenging people's paradigms and norms, and some people will comment and other people won't, but they all see it and they are all watching all the time.
Oh, fantastic. Let's give them a round of applause. So I would like to ask, when it comes to social media, is there a good time to post? Is there a bad time to post? Tell us exactly when you think the best time might be for posting.
This happens to be Zach's expertise, so I'm going to pass this on.
Yes, dear. So, real world networking is the exact same thing as social networking. So think about your target demographic. Think about your target demographic. And if you know who your target demographic is, if you know what your niche is, then you should know when your niche is going to be in front of their computer. So my ideal posting time might not be the same as Susan's or Caroline's. Because if I'm looking at targeting, let's say, people that are struggling in corporate America that are ages 25 to 35, I know that their habits indicate that most likely they get into their office around 8:30 in the morning. They have some sort of a meeting that they're sitting there nauseous during. And that by 9:15 or 9:30 in the morning, they're in front of their computers for a regular check-in. I also know that by about 10:45, it's time for a smoke or a coffee break. So that might be a great time. I know that on their drive home, even though they shouldn't be on their phones during rush hour, they are still checking their newsfeed because we are addicted to social media. In fact, we're so addicted to it that we do it because of the chemical response that we get. Did you guys know that there's a reason you're checking to see if you get likes on your status updates? It makes you feel good. It releases a feel-good chemical. So your prospects, your network are no different. And so they're looking for something to divert them from the day that they just experienced for the gazillionth time in a row. And so if they're stuck in traffic, that's probably a good time to post. Then you look at the peak hours that people talk about, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm not a huge fan of that posting time. And here's why. Most people are eating dinner during that time. They're getting home, they're putting their kids to bed, but they can't seem to fall asleep because they have trouble sleeping. So 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night, as late as 11 o'clock at night. And if you want the real secret to know when your network is watching, simply go to your little chat section and notice who's online. Your market will always dictate your activity. Just like Tony Robbins says, he says, let your prospect determine your presentation. Social media is the same thing.
Excellent, excellent response. All right, so I want to say on this, because it's kind of a big deal, and a lot of people have interest in it. So as I'm actually on there, I'm excited about the results I'm seeing through your website. I love the stories that I'm hearing. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump in. What steps do you have me take? How do you connect with me individually? Because we talk a lot about, face-to-face meetings, belly-to-belly. What do we do? How do we get engaged? How do I start doing it? Are you going to just come out to my house? I mean, I could live thousands of miles away from you. What are you going to do?
Where do you live?
I live in Phoenix.
What do you got going on out there?
I've got a lot of things going on. I like to golf this time of year.
I'll come see you.
Oh, wow.
So if you're not close by, and even if you are close by, oftentimes it doesn't make sense to spend the amount of time that it takes to be in person with somebody when you can be on the phone. So the first thing that we do is we take the conversation offline. Chances are you've commented on one of my posts. Now Doug has said, this looks exciting. I want to do it. What is this? So I say, it's too much to post on here. I'm going to send you a private message. And then I send him a private message. Just like we talked about today in the training, I follow the scripting. And I get him to commit to a time when he can be in front of his computer for a focused 15 minutes to watch a couple of videos. And we also set up a time for a call. And if you're new, you're going to set up a time with your upline, with your mentor, for a three-way call. Three-way calls are so important as you're learning your way around this business. Not only because it gives you an opportunity to listen to somebody who is far more experienced than you, go through the discovery process and make recommendations, but it also shows the person that you're talking to that they don't need to be intimidated. They can do this too, because all they need to do is grab you and put you on a call with their friend down the line. So that's really important. So we get on a three-way call. I ask Doug a handful of questions. Before I do that, we connect. We spend a few minutes building rapport. I ask him where he's from. I try to establish commonality. Do we have any hobbies in common? How many kids does he have? What does he do for a living? I get to know him for a couple minutes. And then we right away go into what his goals are. Doug, what was it about my post that piqued your interest? And Doug will answer, well, I'd love to get the same results that George did. He looks great. I have about 20 pounds that I would like to lose. Doug, 20 pounds. We got that. How are you sleeping at night? How's your energy? Are you waking up in the morning with mental clarity? How are you feeling? Well, gosh, I'm feeling really tired. We go through it. What are your days like? Now, I asked Doug that not only so that I know the right product recommendation and I can see what's going to fit within his schedule, but but I want to know what he does for a living. I want to know how over-leveraged he is. I want to know how many hours a day he has to work. I want to know if he likes his job. I want to know if he feels passionate about what he does. Why? I'm collecting information. I'm doing the same discovery process as I am on the product side, but I'm weaving in the business. Because chances are, I'm going to share with him my business story. And if I don't feel that he'll relate to my business story, I'll share Zach's or Susan's or somebody else on our team. You always want to create relatability with the person that you're talking to. Sometimes your own product story, your own business story isn't what's going to speak to them most. So know your stories. And we weave that into the conversation. I get Doug started. I teach him how he can very simply post on Facebook so that he can grab some friends to get started with him right away. And that way he's earned back anywhere from 50 to 100% of the cost of his investment. Like that, before his box arrives. And he'll have the privilege and the excitement of doing this with some friends. It's always more fun to do product, to do business with a community of people around you, with all the people that you love.
Fantastic. I love the social motivation side as well. Thank you. You know, I love what you said about niches as well, kind of being able to relate to your niche. You talked about the stories. If you don't have the story, use somebody else's story. That's a vicarious experience that people can have. But one friend always taught me, you know, to really get rich, you got to get rich in your niche, right? So I thought that was really good. So very good. So anything else when it comes to social media? Just this kind of an open question here. So if you were to tell these guys one or two really key things to really making sure their Facebook or whatever it is they're using, any social media, is most impactful to building their Isagenix business, what could they do? What should they do? What steps might they take? I know we've hit a lot of them already, but what are some of just maybe the key things for somebody that may not know a lot about Facebook or wants to get started?
The most important thing is to remain consistent with your posting. We talked a bit about this earlier. Be consistent. 3 to 5 posts a day. Provide value. Show up as a leader. And share other people's success. Celebrate their wins. Celebrate the wins of the people on your team, your family members, your friends, the people within the community. Share a photo. I'm so proud of my friend Zach. After struggling for so many years, he has burned 20 pounds of fat, dropped 3 jean sizes, is down 7% body fat, and is back into the shape he was as a Division I athlete in college. He's been trying everything to accomplish this. Congratulations, Zach. Or I'm so proud of Sasha and Garrett. Here they've made $2,000. I feel so proud to be their mentor. Constantly celebrate everything that's going on around you. People will wonder what you're doing to be so happy to create the results, these results in people's lives.
For every single one of you, even those of you at home, that are experiencing the thought right now of, well, I don't have that big of a team, I don't have those kinds of results to celebrate, I'm not sitting on stage, I'm not a leader like Susan or Caroline, so I can't do any of those things. Erase all that junk from your head right now and start today establishing the principles that we've talked about. Because everyone's paying attention to every little thing that you do, and the key to this is that we operate as humans in tribes. For thousands and thousands of years, we've worked as tribes, as people. Everybody wants to be a part of a tribe. The question is, do you guys want to be the leader of the tribe? Or do you just want to be one of the followers of the tribe? And a lot of people say, you know, you guys have risen so quickly in your Isagenix business. You have 16 family members that are doing this with you. How so fast? It took almost 8 years to get the buy-in of my family and a lot of the people that are a part of our tribe now. So you have to lead with that guiding bright light that we talked about earlier. And you have to do it steadfastly. And a young woman came to me earlier and she said, you know, I just don't get it. My closest friends, my family, Why won't they support me? You have so many family members on this. And I'm going to share this with the audience because I think it's important, and it rings true with social media. And when this occurred to me, when I got this a couple years ago, everything changed for me. It's not that your friends and family don't support you guys. It's that they love you and they think they're protecting you. They want to protect you because they're accustomed to you being a part of their tribe. And now you're starting a new tribe and that scares them. So as long as you're consistent and you move forward with integrity, just know they're not punishing you, they're not angry with you, they're just scared. They're scared that you're going to get hurt because you're going to play with another tribe. But eventually they'll see that your tribe is where all the cool kids hang out, and all the in-shape people hang out, and all the sexy start people hang out. And they'll come. Become the leaders that others want to follow, and you'll be fine.
Awesome, absolutely.
Zach and Eden are, when you're part of a company, you're either trying to take something out or put something in and make it better. And the thing I admire so deeply about Zach and Eden is they're definitely making Isagenix a better place. I think you'd all agree with that. Yeah, let's give them a huge round of applause. They're awesome. At home, I don't know if you can see it, but Eden has some really killer shoes on. So anyway, last December, yeah, you have to show the shoes. Brennan, can you show the shoes?
Wow, we get a close-up of those? Nice.
So last December, I was in Las Vegas, and I was sharing the stage with Gary Vaynerchuk, who wrote Crush It, and he was previously known as the wine guy, now he's the social media guy. A great resource for all of you is his new book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And essentially, when it comes to social media, there's a couple of things to really consider. And the one of the biggest things is transparency. So what Gary spoke about was, if we look even to, say, politics, when I started Isagenix, there was no Facebook. So the way we did network marketing 10 years ago is different than the way we do it now. If you look at politicians, before Facebook, before social media, before Twitter and Instagram and everything else, they didn't have to be as transparent. So social media is forcing transparency. Write that down if you're taking notes. It's forcing transparency. So let me give you an example. If I'm a politician in the United States and I lean very far to the right, but I'm campaigning in a state that's a little more to the left, I can say things before social media that are a little more to the left of center. And no one's going to know, only whoever's there for the press. But what happens these days is when something happens, it's instant. It goes up online right away. Everything you post is public record, regardless of your security settings. Every tweet you make goes into the Library of Congress. Did you know that? Every single one. So if you go on, say, someone's blog and you don't like what they say and you're very political or whatever it is, and you make a very derogatory comment, anytime someone's Googling you, they're going to find anything about you. And the more comments that people make about your comment, the higher that goes in the feed. So you want to make sure that from a social media perspective that you're transparent. And a great friend of mine, Sam Richter, he wrote a book called Take the Cold Out of Cold Calling, and he's a social media internet security expert. And what Sam says is this: when you think about posting something, before you just go post it, regardless of, whatever it is, ask yourself, how would I feel if that appeared on the cover of the New York Times? And if it doesn't feel good, if your gut tells you that that's not right, then don't post it. Another thing is I love what what Zach was sharing about just this whole sense of, your brain getting endorphins from the number of likes. And I know my teenage daughter, she'll say, oh, this photo only got, 100 likes, and I want it to have 200 likes. And that's how the litmus test of how we have our value these days, regardless of if you're Gen Y, Gen X, whatever, we all do it. But the reality is that there are odd people out there, and because of social media, you are the higher you rise in Isagenix, and it's happened to me, you are going to have your critics. Even Carolyn, when she was a contender, you know, when you did the IsaBody challenge and she won a prize and someone posted and said, oh great, a millionaire getting more money. Well, there's a great button called unfriend. It's fantastic. Use it, because anyone who's making derogatory comments about you or salacious comments about you, unfriend them. Get rid of them. As Zach said, this is your tribe, and you wouldn't let someone into your house to criticize your children. While Facebook is your house, my friends, be very cautious about who you let in. And another thing I do is, when I'm looking on Facebook and I'm watching the feed, I will, if someone is in another network marketing company, knowing very well that some of the people who are following me are going to see that, I just unfriend them, especially if they're very overt. And the other thing, just so you're aware, and I know this was covered and I want to really hit it home, is don't come to an event like this and say, I want to make $1 million and play Candy Crush.
Say that again.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I said, don't come to an event like this and then play Candy Crush. Because everyone sees when you play Candy Crush or whatever the newest game is. The people who are going to do the IPO of Candy Crush, they're going to make billions of dollars. You're not going to make billions of dollars playing Candy Crush. If you want to build Isagenix and you're going to use social media to do it, then be like Zach and Eden. They come from a corporate background, so they treat their social media corporately, and so should all of you.
Awesome. All right. Well, my next question, this has been great, hasn't it? Absolutely great. So I'll tell you, I want to just ask a question. This is open to the panel. Tell me what you think the benefits are, or the greatest benefits of achieving executive or crystal executive.
Okay, I'll take that. When you desire to achieve something in life, whether it's an Isagenix or anything else, don't you go to the experts? Does that make sense? I entered the IsaBody challenge 8 times. I entered because I was told to enter, but I wasn't told to finish. So I had to figure that one out myself, right? And I thought, like Zach said today at the lunch, I was telling my team to enter the IsaBody challenge. And so now I'm telling my team to enter and be a finisher, and now to be a finalist. So I want to acknowledge Judy Langmuir. Judy, where are you? Judy's inspired me. Judy's a finalist in IsaBody. Darren's a finalist in IsaBody. And so you guys are inspiring me to take it to the next level. So the same thing about executive, right? Susan, Jimmy, Kathy Coover, get to executive and don't lose that status. So ask the question, what do I have to do? And then, guess what? Do it. And so my question is, if, you know, Susan is creating success, she's giving me the tools, I take the notes and I go home and I park the notes. So when I got it and I said the benefits, what's the benefits? Okay, when we started like 10 years ago, the ancients speaking, the benefit was the 10% executive matching bonus. We got a pin to wear. Oh yeah, we get the pin, yeah, that's another bonus, yeah, we get the pin. And so I started to calculate, all right, so when, you know, I was calculating what Susan's sponsor was making on her cycles. And I thought, all right, I want to go and help some people in my team, because when I assist them to get what they want, then there's an extra bonus for being paid as executive. And then the company keeps adding to that, right? Leadership pool bonus. When I saw that, I was like, woohoo! Right? So my goal was get there, stay there, don't lose it. Right? So many of you get to executive and you think that's the destination. And Kirk Metz taught me this. He said executive is the on-ramp to your business. It's the start. So you get there and then you keep adding, because gosh, do people change their minds? They fall off? Do they become inactive? So it's a bit of a bit of a game. So you go add some more people because you know you got to create that insurance. So you get 10% matching bonus, you get leadership bonus, you get invited to some cool things. So I don't know, anybody wants to add anything else in there?
Jimmy went today in his third.
Jimmy went executive in his third position. So, guys, you know what? Today he was, and Jimmy Smith, yeah, I talked to him yesterday, so let's blow Jimmy a kiss. Mwah! Jimmy, we love you. And Jimmy said to me when I talked to him earlier this week, he said, I just sponsored 3 new people this week. And he hasn't left the house and he's not on Facebook. So, there's a trick to what Jimmy does. So, listen to your leaders. When they tell you to do something, do it, and then, you know, don't play around with it, you guys. I got to executive and I made a decision. I am not going to lose that level. I'm going to stay paid as, and I got to executive my first 6 months, and I've never lost that level, okay? So,
Yes, very good. Congratulations. I would say the same thing too. We've been executive since our 17th day in the business. That was 6.5 years ago, and we've not been out of paid as executive, not even a single day. And I didn't know where there was an option to not be. See? But here's the thing. What I love about that executive position is it spreads out the leadership and the responsibility. It is the strength of our independent leadership all throughout your organization. You know, there are so many leaders. I mean, you can only be responsible for so many people. And so that's the beauty of the program. I mean, look, here's a leader this is a leader inside her team. I mean, that's the beauty of creating executives. And so once you've done it yourself, I heard Zach say beautifully at a recognition lunch, he said, you know, I've never done anything, that I've never asked my team to do anything that I haven't done as well. When you stay as an executive, I guarantee you it will reflect into your team, and you don't have to shoulder all the responsibility. I mean, there's independent leaders, those executives built throughout, and I will tell you that's been the secret for us getting to million, you know, quite, you know, I would say with ease because of so many people taking that executive challenge. So.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. All right. So I want to put you on the spot just for a minute. Ready? What is your favorite income-producing activity? And why? We can just go right down the lane really quickly and see what you think. Go ahead. However you want to do it.
Cleansing, actually.
All right. Excellent.
Susan Sly said once, and well, many times, but resonated with me, was be a product of the product. So if you can become the product of the product, people want to follow what you're doing. And so cleansing keeps me there. That's my biggest income-producing activity, actually.
Very good.
Very good.
I adore the 3-way call. I like to talk. You don't get paid to talk. So do you. So how much are you getting paid? 3-way call is my favorite.
Perfect.
awesome. My favorite income-producing activity is curiosity. I'm curious about people. Everybody I meet, I start a conversation with them. And when I see so many people miss the opportunity, the airport is the most incredible place to miss people. Just go hang out at the airport. But so, I'm telling you, you don't need to go to a mall. Go to an airport. You can hang out there. People coming, people going from all different parts of the world. So if they're coming from Germany, I'm not talking to them, okay? Because Isagenix is not there. Just kidding, just kidding. What I see is so many people buried in their personal device. When you are in public and you're not noticing what's going on around you, you're missing the opportunity. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Can I tell a quick story?
Really quick.
Real quick.
You bet.
In my last business, I was sitting, you know, in the shopping mall, and I didn't know about being healthy then. I was eating French fries. And I was tired, and this gentleman was sitting beside me, and something kept saying, talk to the man, talk to the man. I'm like, no, eat your fries. Just talk to the man. You know, I just want to eat my fries. No, talk to the man. And finally, I looked down at that gentleman, and he was wearing a really incredible pair of shoes. And I said to him, well, it's all about the shoes, right? Men wear nice shoes, too. But what I noticed is it was a special kind of shoes, and I said, do you have a back problem? And he looked at me and goes, yes, why do you ask? I said, I noticed your shoes, because when I do blah, 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 I wear those kinds of shoes. So he asked me what I did, and then I told him, and he invited me to come and do a presentation for him and his business partners. So if I hadn't listened to that intuition and I'd been buried in my device, I wouldn't notice who's around me that needs what we have to offer. So curiosity.
Thank you. All right, very good.
And she doesn't eat French fries anymore. I know that. For me, it's getting people paid. You know, it goes back to, again, over and over, wisdom shall be known by her children. And you know, people will come to me and say, Susan, my cycles are stagnant. And I'll say, well, pull out your executive reports. Let's see what your people are making. Because if you're not increasing your income, no one in your team is getting paid. And really, it's celebrating that individual cycle and understanding very deeply that if you aspire to be a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and so on, that's composed of many people cycling one time a week, which gets their products paid for. One cycle a week is a 95% retention rate for a consultant. So for me, that's the number one, is looking at those reports at the beginning of the week and saying, who can we help get paid?
Very good. Mind the data stream.
I have to change my answer on the spot because I'm with Susan in terms of teaching your people how to get paid. It's the most important skill you can develop if you want to be doing an income-producing activity. My second one then, and this may come as a surprise to you, is doing live presentations. Because I believe that in doing a live presentation, I get to accomplish two things. One, I get to teach my team how to present the opportunity. And two, I can reach more people at one time. And I can cast a wider net and cast a bigger vision. So if you guys are scared of public speaking, start speaking. You may or may not believe this, but when I first started in network marketing, I started by giving testimonials, and I used to shake like this. And I was terrified. But what I saw, as I kept doing it over and over, and I would imagine you've had this experience as well, is you start to look out in the audience, as many of you have over the weekend. You lock eyes with people, and they look at you and say, please tell me that this is real and that I can do this too. You have an obligation to learn how to speak as an income-producing activity because people deserve to hear your message.
Now I have to change my answer. I love going through all of the reports in the back office. I'm a little bit obsessed with each of them, including the blueprint specifically. But I like to go through my back office and see who's fallen off. We've been in business for a year, so who came into our business within the last year who's not currently active? How can I reach back out to them and re-engage them? What are some new products that I could tell them about? How do I re-engage them? Did you guys know that it's 70% easier to reactivate an old customer than it is to create a new customer? So go back into your base and see who you can re-inspire.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So let me ask you really quickly, do you wish there was a tool that helped you develop your story? Basically, how to connect, how to set goals, how to close, how to enroll, three-way calls, overcoming objections. Would you like to have a tool like that? Absolutely. Well, guess what? We've got one. How many of you use this little tool right here? It's all in here, and it's great. It's so thin, it fits in a glove box. You should buy 5 of them just in case you lose them and just keep them everywhere. You got audio, CDs, videos. You have all the tabs, a who do you know list, developing your story, enrollments, closes, overcoming objections, three-way calls, all the best practices from some of our greatest leaders and trainers. Take advantage of this. If you live in Canada, you can find this at isagenixtools.ca. If you live in the U.S., it's isatools.com. So before we depart from our folks, our live viewers out there, let's turn around and stand up and give them a big so long. Thank you so much for joining us, and give our panel a big round of applause as well. All right, that'll just be me.